I'm always constantly trying to share. Like I always feel like there's a lot of good opportunities out there, and if I can help somebody get a job, to me, it's almost just as satisfying as sometimes getting the job itself. You know what I mean? Like their successes are always, I take that as my successes. And I do that with my assistants too. Like,
one of the things that I want to extract that's so important when it comes to both what you did to decide that I want to make these different genre transitions, and it actually comes back to, without me knowing it, the strategy that I used to get on Burn Notice originally. People are looking for two things. The most likely thing they want is experience. I look at the paper tells me you're the perfect fit, my ass is covered. If they don't work out, it's their fault and not mine, because I hired the person that makes sense on paper. The
sure.
other area that I feel so few people don't have the confidence is saying, I might not have the experience, but I have the ability. I've got the skills to do this well. That's what you did with Larry Charles, and that's what I did with Alfredo. Because Alfredo had told me after our meeting, he's like, there was nobody else we interviewed. They could just sit in the chair on day one and cut Burn Notice. We didn't have to train you. All you had to do was get the job, and we knew you didn't have the experience, but you just knew how to cut the show down to the act outs and the effects and the box sequences. We'd have to train other people. So my skills are what got me there, not the experience. But people are so hell-bent on thinking I have to have the experience, and they get caught in the catch-22. Well, I got to get the job to have the experience, but I need the experience to get the job. And you focus on skills in order to start making that transition, not just, well, this is what's on paper, so you get what you get, and you address that elephant in the room head on, which takes courage, but it's so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the other thing that we haven't talked about yet, my guess is you probably said no more than once to opportunities that would further pigeonhole you, correct?
Oh, I mean, to this day, I think I still do that. I mean, I'm lucky that, I get to work, I get to work a lot. I mean, I get the calls and opportunities. It also gives me the opportunities to be, selective in the sense that what I choose to do or not to do. There's certain people like Matt Nix, who will call me up, and it's like, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to say no to him. I mean, obviously it depends, but I mean, there's certain people that I get excited when I get those calls because I know what I'm sort of getting myself into. But yes, I mean, a good example, you had James Wilcox. When I got the call for the Ron Howard TV series, the Genius one, I mean, like I had already committed to Matt Nix doing the X-Men pilot with Bryan Singer, so it was one of those where when I get those calls when they say, hey, we want you to come in and meet, if I can't do it, I always like to recommend somebody, someone who I think, oh, this might be a good fit. So it was one of those situations where it was like, hey, obviously it's Ron Howard. Like, who the hell's going to say no to this? But unfortunately, I'm already committed to something. But I think you guys should meet, James Wilcox. I think you're going to like him, and sure enough, James went in there and got it, and established this relationship with Ron now. So
and now those are those things. Ron's features.
I know.
And you're like, yeah, you think about mention that.
but I mean, but those are those, like, those are those things where I do catch I'm always constantly trying to share. Like I always feel like there's a lot of good opportunities out there. And if I can help somebody get a job, to me, it's almost just as satisfying as sometimes getting the job itself. I mean? Like their successes are always, I take that as my successes. And I do that with my assistants too. Like, I mean, every time, they get, an assistant that moves on and gets an editing, position, like that to me is one of the best feelings, you can have when you see them sort of succeed and beyond,
No, I'm definitely one of those names on the list, and very, very much appreciate everything that you were allowed to make happen for me. So I appreciate that.